The phone buzzed at 2:47 a.m., and I made the mistake of checking it. I'm not a suspicious person by nature, never have been. Teaching economics at the university teaches you to look for patterns, to trust data, to believe in rational behavior. But nothing prepares you for the moment when your entire reality cracks open like an egg dropped on concrete. Rose's phone sat on her nightstand, screen glowing. She was in the shower, washing off the supposed exhaustion from another late night at the firm. The message preview was innocent enough. Can't wait for Saturday. The wedding will be perfect. But it wasn't from her mother. It wasn't from Sophie. The contact name read B. I should have put it down. I should have rolled over and gone back to sleep. Instead, I unlocked it. Her passcode was my birthday, how's that for irony, and opened the thread. What I found wasn't just infidelity, it was something far more calculated and twisted. 3 days to the wedding, the thread began, dated 2 weeks ago. Are you really going through with this? Rose's reply sent a chill down my spine. Of course. That's the point. The thrill, the danger. Paul will be at the altar, completely unaware. And after the ceremony? Bill asked. We slip away during the reception. The bridal suite at the Ashford. I've already hidden the key card. He'll think I'm just freshening up. My hands started shaking. I scrolled up, finding months of messages, hotel receipts, photos of them together in cities I thought she'd visited for work. Dallas, Chicago, Boston. Always the same pattern. Rose would tell me she had a deposition or a client meeting, and instead, she was with him. But it was the next part that made my stomach turn. This is so messed up, Rose. You know that, right? Bill had written. That's what makes it perfect. The ultimate liberation. Sleeping with you while my husband celebrates downstairs, thinking he's married the love of his life, the forbidden nature of it, the risk. It's intoxicating. Your fetish is going to get us caught. Paul is too trusting, too rational. He believes in the goodness of people. He'll never suspect a thing. I sat in the dark, the phone screen casting a blue glow across my face, and felt something inside me die. Not my love for her. That had vanished the moment I read the first message. What died was the version of me who believed in stability, loyalty, and that intelligence and dedication were enough. The shower stopped. I placed the phone back exactly where I'd found it, screen down, and stared at the ceiling. Rose emerged, smelling of lavender and lies. You're awake, she said, sliding into bed. Her hand found my chest, warm and soft. Can't sleep? Just thinking about the wedding, I replied, my voice steady. Surprised me. 3 more days, she murmured, kissing my shoulder. Then we'll be husband and wife. I closed my eyes and began to plan. Morning came with cruel normalcy. Rose left for work at 7:30, her goodbye kiss tasting like poison. I called in sick, first time in 4 years, and got to work. My economics background taught me one thing: follow the money, always. I started with our joint account. Rose had insisted we combine finances 6 months ago, claiming it showed trust. I'd agreed, transferring my savings without hesitation. Now, I saw the truth in the transactions. Withdrawals, hundreds of small amounts, adding up, 500 here, 300 there. Cash advances I'd never questioned, hotel charges matching her supposed business trips, expensive restaurants, lingerie from boutiques I'd never heard of. Over the past 8 months, she'd spent nearly $30,000. My $30,000. Money I'd earned through careful budgeting, summer courses, and grading papers late into the night. Money earned growing up in foster care, knowing I had no family safety net. I downloaded every statement, receipt, and transaction, then moved to her laptop left open on the kitchen counter. Her email password was saved in the browser, another careless, or perhaps arrogant, mistake. The emails confirmed everything. Flight confirmations that didn't match her dates, hotel bookings for double occupancy, exchanges with Bill, casual and intimate, their jokes about my ignorance making my skin crawl. One email stood out, sent just 5 days ago. B, I can't believe we're actually doing this. The wedding is Saturday and I'm terrified and excited. Paul suspects nothing. He's been so sweet, so attentive, making sure everything's perfect. It breaks my heart a little, but not enough to stop. You understand, right? This need inside me, to feel alive, wanted by someone dangerous. Paul is safe. You're chaos. I need both. After Saturday, after our moment at the Ashford, I'll come back to him and be the perfect wife. He'll never know. Our secret forever. I printed everything, every message, every receipt, every damning piece of evidence. I compiled it into a folder on my laptop, password protected, and backed it up on 3 cloud services. By noon, I had a complete dossier of Rose's betrayal. The evidence was undeniable. I organized it chronologically, showing the progression of her affair, first cautious messages, then bolder exchanges, and more elaborate plans. I found hidden calendar entries in a separate email account, dates that lined up with my teaching schedule, times when I'd be occupied. She'd been strategic, ensuring minimal risk of discovery. There were credit card statements for a card I didn't know existed, more hotels, restaurants, gifts, a Tiffany bracelet I'd never seen her wear. Plane tickets to Miami for a weekend she claimed to be at a conference in Atlanta. The depth of her deception was staggering. This wasn't a lapse in judgment, it was systematic, sustained over months. Every lie was planned, every excuse crafted. I thought about the late nights I'd spent grading papers, preparing lectures, trying to build a future for us. I'd encouraged her to pursue her career, to take business trips. I'd been supportive, trusting, devoted, and she used that trust as cover for her betrayal. By the time Rose came home that evening, I had enough evidence to destroy her career, her reputation, and any illusion she had of controlling this situation. "How was your day?" she asked, dropping her briefcase by the door. She looked beautiful, as always. Dark hair in a professional bun, a sharp gray suit. Once that sight would have made my heart race. Now I felt only cold fury. "Fine," I said, stirring the pasta sauce. "Quiet. How was work?" "Exhausting. The Henderson case is draining. I'll probably have to work this weekend to prepare." Another lie. I'd checked her calendar. Nothing on Henderson, but I nodded sympathetically, playing along. "That's tough. But after Saturday, we'll have the honeymoon to unwind." Her smile was perfect, rehearsed. "I can't wait. 2 weeks in Italy, just us." Italy. Another lie. I'd found emails where she planned to cut the honeymoon short, claiming a work emergency to meet Bill in Miami. We had dinner like a normal couple. She told me about her day, fiction dressed in just enough truth to seem real. I talked about my supposed bachelor party plans. We did the dishes together, her hip brushing mine playfully. We watched TV, her head on my shoulder. In bed, she curled against me and quickly fell asleep. I lay awake in the dark, refining my plan. Every detail had to be perfect. I wasn't going to be the fool she thought I was, the predictable, rational man she could manipulate. I was going to show her exactly what happened when you underestimated someone. Thursday morning, I decided to test her, to see if she'd come clean when given the chance. "Rose," I said over breakfast. She looked up from her phone, probably texting Bill. "I need to ask you something." Her expression shifted just slightly, a flicker of wariness behind her eyes. "Of course. What is it?" "Are you having an affair?" The words hung in the air between us. For a moment I thought she might confess. Her face went pale, her lips parted. I could see the calculation happening behind her eyes, the rapid assessment of how much I might know, what her best response would be. Then she laughed. It wasn't a nervous laugh or a guilty laugh. It was a laugh of pure, dismissive amusement. "Are you serious right now? Paul, where is this coming from?" "Just answer the question." She set down her coffee mug with deliberate care. No, I am not having an affair. I can't believe you'd even ask me that 2 days before our wedding. You've been distant lately. I've been stressed. Planning a wedding while managing a full caseload is insane. You know this. Her voice rose, indignant. How dare you accuse me of something like that? I'm not accusing. I'm asking. It's the same thing. She stood abruptly, grabbing her briefcase. I don't have time for your paranoia right now. I have a deposition in an hour. Rose, we'll talk about this later when you've calmed down and stopped acting crazy. She left without kissing me goodbye. I heard her car pull out of the driveway, tires squealing slightly on the pavement. I sat at the kitchen table sipping my coffee, and something inside me shifted. She had the chance to come clean, to show even a hint of remorse. Instead, she lied to my face, gaslit me, made me feel irrational for questioning her. That was the moment I stopped feeling guilty about what I was about to do. I called Sophie. Sophie had been Rose's college roommate, and they'd stayed close over the years. Now married and living a few towns over, she worked as a graphic designer. Rose trusted her completely, which meant Sophie might have some useful information. Paul, hi, is everything okay with the wedding? Her voice was bright, cheerful. Actually, Sophie, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Silence. Then, cautiously. Okay. Do you know about Rose and Bill? The pause said it all. Sophie, please, I already know. I just need confirmation. Oh, God. Her voice cracked. Paul, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to believe it either. I saw them together at a restaurant in Boston 3 months ago. I was there for a design conference, and they were at a corner table holding hands. When I asked Rose about it later, she said they were just catching up as old friends, that you knew all about it. I didn't know. I realize that now. I should have said something. I should have told you. What else do you know? Sophie took a shaky breath. She's been seeing him for almost a year, on and off. She told me it didn't mean anything, that she loved you, but it was just about feeling desired and excited. She said Bill understood her in ways you couldn't. The words stung, even though I'd already read similar sentiments in Rose's messages. Hearing it confirmed by someone else made it more real somehow. Did she mention the wedding? Another pause. Longer this time. Yes. What did she say? Paul, I don't think... Tell me. She said she was going through with it because she wanted both lives, the stability and respectability of being married to you and the excitement of being with Bill. She called it having her cake and eating it too. She said you'd never find out, that you were too rational to suspect anything emotional. I closed my eyes. When did she tell you this? About a month ago. We were having lunch and she'd had 2 glasses of wine. She was almost giddy about it, like it was some exciting secret. I told her she was playing with fire, that she'd hurt you. She just laughed and said you'd never know. Thank you for telling me. Paul, I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. I should have warned you. It's not your fault. You were caught in a difficult position. After we hung up, I sat in the silence of my empty house, feeling the last piece of the puzzle fall into place. Rose hadn't just betrayed me. She'd celebrated it, treated my trust like a joke. That's when I decided she would pay for every single lie. Canceling a wedding 2 days before it happens is surprisingly simple when you're methodical. I started with the venue, the Ashford Hotel, where Rose had booked the bridal suite for her twisted fantasy. I called the events coordinator, explained the situation, and canceled. There was a cancellation fee, $5,000, which I paid with our joint account. The coordinator was sympathetic, professional. I'm so sorry to hear that. Is there anything we can do? No, thank you. We've just had a change of heart. I understand. These things happen. I'll process the cancellation immediately. Then the caterer. Another cancellation fee, $3,000. The florist, $1,500. The photographer, $2,000. The DJ, $800. The cake, $500. Each vendor was polite, understanding, probably accustomed to last-minute cancellations. By noon, I'd dismantled our entire wedding, $13,000 in cancellation fees, all from our joint account. Rose would see the charges eventually, but by then it would be too late. Next came the guests. I drafted an email, short and simple. Due to personal circumstances, the wedding of Paul Martin and Rose Keller on Saturday, October 5th, has been canceled. We apologize for any inconvenience. Please do not contact us for further information at this time. I sent it to everyone on our guest list. 147 people, including Rose's law firm partners, my colleagues at the university, her parents, and all our friends. Then I turned my attention to Bill. Bill Thornton owned a reputable commercial real estate firm with major clients, including a hospital network and upscale retail stores. I created an anonymous email and sent carefully worded warnings to his clients, detailing his affair with Rose, dates, locations, hotel names, to show this wasn't baseless gossip. I feel compelled to inform you about Bill Thornton's personal conduct, which may be relevant to your business relationship. For the past year, he has been involved in an affair with a married woman, arranging meetings at hotels during supposed business trips. Dates include March 15th at the Ritz-Carlton, Boston, April 22nd at the Hyatt Regency, Chicago, and May 8th at the Four Seasons, Dallas. This raises questions about his professional integrity. I leave it to your judgment whether this affects your relationship. I sent similar messages to his business partners, suggesting that someone dishonest in their personal life might not be trustworthy in business. I didn't make any false claims. Everything was verifiable through credit card records and hotel logs. Then I calculated what Rose owed me. $30,000 spent from our joint account, half the wedding expenses, $18,000, including cancellation fees, and my half of the house deposit, $25,000. $73,000 total. I drafted an invoice, itemized and professional, formatted like the kind of document she'd see from opposing counsel. Each line item was backed with supporting evidence, bank statements, receipts, contracts. By the time Rose came home that evening, everything was in motion. The wedding was canceled, the guests were notified, Bill's professional reputation was under siege, and Rose's financial obligations were documented and quantified. "I'm sorry about this morning," she said, setting down a bag from our favorite Thai restaurant, a peace offering. "I overreacted. The stress is getting to me." "It's okay," I said. I took the food to the kitchen, unpacked it calmly. "I understand." She hugged me from behind, her arms around my waist. "I love you, Paul. I know I don't say it enough lately, but I do. You're everything to me." The words sounded hollow now, empty platitudes she'd learned to say at the right moments. "I love you too," I said. The lie came easily. We ate dinner, discussing the final wedding details for an event that would never happen. She showed me a photo of the dress she'd picked up from the seamstress. It was beautiful, elegant, expensive. She'd never wear it. "One more day," she said, raising her wine glass. "Tomorrow night you'll have your bachelor party, I'll have my bachelorette party, and then Saturday, we'll be married." I clinked my glass against hers and smiled. Behind that smile, I was counting the hours until she found out what I'd done. Friday afternoon, Rose's phone started ringing. She was in the bedroom, packing for her supposed bachelorette party at Sophie's. Another lie, she was actually meeting Bill at a hotel downtown when the calls began. First her mother, then her maid of honor, then Sophie, then colleagues from work. I heard her voice rising from behind the closed door, confusion turning to panic. "What do you mean it's canceled?" "Mom, I don't understand." "No, Paul didn't say anything to me. There must be some mistake." I walked to the bedroom and opened the door. She stood there, phone pressed to her ear, face drained of color. "Mom, I have to call you back." She hung up and stared at me. "Paul, what's going on? People are saying the wedding is canceled." "It is," I said simply. "What are you talking about? What did you do?" I canceled it. The venue, the caterers, the flowers, everything. I sent an email to all the guests this morning. Her mouth opened and closed. This isn't funny. I'm not joking. Paul, what the hell is wrong with you? Her voice cracked, shrill with rising hysteria. You can't just cancel our wedding without talking to me. Sure I can. I did it this morning. It was surprisingly easy. She rushed toward me, grabbing my arms. Why would you do this? Are you having some kind of breakdown? No breakdown, just clarity. Clarity about what? About you and Bill. The name hit her like a physical blow. She stepped back, hands dropping to her sides. For a moment, her mask slipped, and I saw genuine fear in her eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. I pulled out my phone and opened the folder where I'd saved screenshots of her messages. I held it out to her. She took it with trembling hands. As she scrolled through the images, I watched the color drain further from her face, watched her shoulders sag, watched the moment she realized she'd been caught. Paul, I can explain. You had your chance yesterday morning. I asked you directly if you were having an affair, and you lied to my face. You called me paranoid and crazy. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. You've been sleeping with your ex for almost a year. You've spent $30,000 of my money on hotels and trips to see him. You planned to sleep with him on our wedding day, in the bridal suite, while I celebrated downstairs like an idiot. Tears started streaming down her face. Real tears this time, not the manipulative kind she'd used before. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. You told him I was too trusting, too rational, that I'd never suspect a thing. You were right about that, up until 3 days ago. Please, Paul. We can work through this. I'll end things with Bill right now. I'll do anything. There's nothing to work through. We're done. She fell to her knees. Actually fell to her knees, hands clasped like she was praying. Please don't do this. I love you. I made a terrible mistake. But I love you. You loved the stability I provided. You loved having someone safe at home while you got your thrills elsewhere. That's not love, Rose. That's convenience. I'll change. I swear I'll change. I sent it to everyone on our guest list, 147 people, including Rose's law firm partners, my colleagues at the university, her parents, and all our friends. Then I turned my attention to Bill. Bill Thornton owned a reputable commercial real estate firm with major clients, including a hospital network and upscale retail stores. I created an anonymous email and sent carefully worded warnings to his clients, detailing his affair with Rose, dates, locations, hotel names, to show this wasn't baseless gossip. I feel compelled to inform you about Bill Thornton's personal conduct, which may be relevant to your business relationship. For the past year, he has been involved in an affair with a married woman, arranging meetings at hotels during supposed business trips. Dates include March 15th at the Ritz-Carlton Boston, April 22nd at the Hyatt Regency Chicago, and May 8th at the Four Seasons Dallas. This raises questions about his professional integrity. I leave it to your judgment whether this affects your relationship. I sent similar messages to his business partners, suggesting that someone dishonest in their personal life might not be trustworthy in business. I didn't make any false claims. Everything was verifiable through credit card records and hotel logs. Then I calculated what Rose owed me. $30,000 spent from our joint account, half the wedding expenses, $18,000, including cancellation fees, and my half of the house deposit, $25,000. $73,000 total. I drafted an invoice, itemized and professional, formatted like the kind of document she'd see from opposing counsel. Each line item was backed with supporting evidence, bank statements, receipts, contracts. By the time Rose came home that evening, everything was in motion. The wedding was canceled, the guests were notified, Bill's professional reputation was under siege, and Rose's financial obligations were documented and quantified. It looks like you've provided the text you'd like to continue working with. How would you like to proceed? Would you like me to adjust, shorten, or further refine it? Let me know how I can assist. I have evidence. Messages, emails, financial records. She spent $30,000 of our joint money on trips to see him. She planned to sleep with him at our wedding reception, in the bridal suite, while I was downstairs with the guests. I heard Mrs. Collier gasp. No, that can't be right. Our Rose wouldn't do something like that. I wish it wasn't true, but it is. I have screenshots of their text messages discussing it. I have hotel receipts, flight records, everything. Mr. Collier's voice turned cold, hard. Let me talk to her. Right now. I'm not at the house. I'm at a hotel, but you should definitely talk to her. Paul, I'm so sorry. His voice cracked with emotion. We had no idea. You're such a good man, stable, intelligent, respectful. We were so happy when Rose found you, we thought... He paused, struggling with his words. We thought we'd finally have grandchildren. A normal, happy family. We've been waiting for years for Rose to settle down. And when she brought you home, we thought our prayers had been answered. The words hit harder than I expected. Growing up in foster care, bouncing between homes, I'd learned not to hope for family. When Rose's parents accepted me, talked about grandchildren and family holidays, I let myself believe in that life. They saw potential in me, someone who would care for their daughter and give them the family they wanted. And I saw in them the parents I'd never had. I'm sorry too, I said quietly. I wanted that life with you. I wanted to be part of your family. Don't apologize, this isn't your fault. Mr. Collier took a shaky breath. Rose has lost her mind. Throwing away a man like you for a fling with her ex? What the hell is wrong with her? We raised her better than this. I don't know, sir. We wanted those grandchildren, Paul. Family dinners, holidays, watching our daughter build a life with someone decent. She's thrown it all away. Thrown you away. His voice hardened. When I talk to her, she's going to hear exactly what I think of her choices. Mrs. Collier's voice came through, tight with tears. You would have been the perfect son-in-law. We loved you like our own. And now... Her voice broke. Now we've lost you too. I'm sorry, I said again, not knowing what else to say. Don't be. You're the victim here. Rose is the one who destroyed this family. Mr. Collier's anger was palpable through the phone. She's going to regret this for the rest of her life. After we hung up, I sat in the silence of my hotel room, reflecting on the family I'd almost had. The Colliers weren't perfect, but they'd been kind to me. They'd included me in their family, asked about my work, treated me like I mattered. They saw me as more than an orphan from the system. They saw me as family, and Rose had destroyed all of it for her twisted fantasy with Bill. My phone buzzed again. A text from Rose's mother. I just talked to Rose. She admitted everything. I'm so ashamed of her. I'm so sorry for what she did to you. You deserved so much better. I didn't respond. What could I say? Thank you for apologizing for your daughter's betrayal. It's okay that she destroyed our future. Instead, I turned off my phone and tried to sleep. Sunday afternoon, Sophie called me from a different number, getting around my phone being off. Paul, you need to know what happened. I just got off the phone with Rose. What happened? After her parents called her yesterday and told her what they thought of her, after everything fell apart, she went to Bill. She drove to his lake house to try to salvage something from this disaster. Something cold settled in my stomach. And? It didn't go well. She told him about everything. The canceled wedding, her parents disowning her, the money you're demanding. She thought maybe they could figure things out, make a real go of being together since you were gone. Sophie, he lost it, Paul. Started yelling about how this was all her fault, how she'd ruined his business reputation, how his clients were abandoning him because of the emails you sent. Then when she mentioned the wedding expenses and the money she owes you, he went ballistic. What did he do? He slapped her, hard, across the face. Then he said, "Are you out of your mind? Why did I even start with you again?" And he just walked out, left her alone at the lake house with a bruise on her face. I sat down heavily on the hotel bed. I'd wanted them both to suffer, to lose everything they valued. But hearing that he'd hit her made my stomach turn. Is she okay? Physically, yes. She has a nasty bruise on her cheek. But emotionally, she's completely destroyed. She called me sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. She's lost you, Bill. Her parents' respect, her self-respect, everything. Where is she now? Back at her parents' house. They let her come back, but they're not exactly welcoming. Her dad told her she could stay until she found her own place, but that she disappointed them more than they could bear. After Sophie hung up, I sat in the growing darkness of my hotel room, thinking about Rose at that lake house, alone, bruised, realizing both men in her life had abandoned her. Bill had used her and discarded her when she became inconvenient. I had walked away from the wreckage without looking back. Part of me, a small, fading part, felt sorry for her. But the larger part, the one that had been betrayed, manipulated, and lied to for months, felt only grim satisfaction. She made her choices. This was simply the consequence. Monday evening, I drove to Bill's lake house. I found the address in Rose's emails, and Sophie confirmed he'd returned there after leaving her. The house sat at the end of a winding gravel road, secluded and perfect for secrets. The sun was setting, casting long shadows. Bill's silver BMW was parked in the driveway. I parked behind it and knocked on the door. He answered after 2 knocks, holding a drink, looking disheveled. His shirt was wrinkled, hair messy. His surprise turned to hostility when he saw me. "What do you want?" he asked. "To see the man who ruined my life." He scoffed. "I ruined your life?" "Rose made her choice. She came to me. You manipulated her, used her twisted fantasies to control her." "I didn't manipulate anyone. She wanted excitement, danger, all the things you couldn't provide. She told me you were boring, predictable, safe. She said being with you was like being wrapped in bubble wrap, comfortable but suffocating." The words stung, but I kept my face neutral. "So you just took what you wanted without caring about the damage? That's rich, coming from you. You destroyed my business, sent anonymous messages to my clients, ruined my reputation. You're not some innocent victim. You're vindictive and calculated. You earned everything I did to you." He stepped closer, anger radiating off him. The smell of whiskey was strong on his breath. "You think you've won something? You think making us both miserable makes you the good guy? I don't care about being the good guy. I just wanted you both to pay for what you did, and you are paying. Your clients are leaving. Your reputation is damaged. And Rose, well, you made sure to put the final nail in that coffin yourself, didn't you?" His jaw clenched. "That was a mistake." "A mistake? You slapped her across the face and abandoned her at your lake house. That's who you really are when things don't go your way. A coward who hits women." "Get out of my house." "Gladly. I just wanted to see what kind of man Rose thought was worth throwing everything away for. Now I know. You're pathetic, weak. The moment things got difficult, when she needed something from you, you showed your true colors." "I said get out." "She chose you over me, over her parents, over her future, over everything stable and good in her life. And when she came to you for support, you hit her and left her alone. I hope that knowledge keeps you company on your lonely nights here." I turned to leave, then paused at the doorway. "Oh, and Bill? Those emails I sent? They were just the beginning. I've got documentation going back a full year. Every hotel, every lie, every business trip you claimed was legitimate. If you ever come near Rose or me again, I'll make sure every single client and business partner you have sees exactly what kind of man you are." His face went pale. "You wouldn't. Try me." I walked back to my car, leaving him standing in the doorway, drink in hand, watching me drive away. As the lake house disappeared in my rearview mirror, The last pieces of anger drained away. Bill wasn't worth my rage, neither was Rose. They were exactly where they deserved to be, alone, facing the consequences of their choices. 2 weeks passed in a hollow routine. I moved from the hotel to a short-term rental near campus. Went to work, taught my classes, graded papers. I avoided questions from concerned colleagues about the canceled wedding. Rose's lawyer, Patricia Hammond, contacted mine on day 12, contesting the $73,000 I'd demanded, calling it excessive. My lawyer, David Sterling, a sharp man in his 50s who'd handled university contract disputes, sent a comprehensive response with all the evidence: bank statements, hotel receipts, credit card charges, and wedding contracts. Patricia went quiet for 3 days before sending a settlement offer. Rose would pay $50,000, and we'd call it even. David called to discuss. "It's not a bad offer, Paul. You'd save on legal fees and time. Fighting this in court could take months." "No," I said. "She pays every dollar or we go to court. I'll win, and she'll pay my legal fees on top of it." "You're certain?" "Completely." David drafted the response: no settlement, full amount, or court. 2 days later, Patricia called David directly. Rose would pay the full $73,000, but needed 60 days instead of 30. She was liquidating investments to cover it. "Agreed," I said, "but I want it in writing, with penalties for late payment." The money hit my account on day 58. All $73,000 transferred in full. I stared at the bank statement for a long time. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like an ending. Cold, final, transactional. Our relationship reduced to a wire transfer and legal documents. I used the money to pay off my student loans completely. The rest went into savings for a down payment on a house, not the one Rose and I had picked out. That dream belonged to someone I used to be, but a house of my own, eventually. 3 days after the money cleared, I was leaving the university library when I saw her. Rose stood by the fountain in the quad, looking diminished. She'd lost weight, her clothes hanging loose. Her hair was in a simple ponytail, no makeup, dark circles under her eyes. The professional polish was gone, replaced by something hollow and defeated. She saw me at the same moment. For a long second, we just stared at each other across the quad. Then she walked toward me. I could have left, could have turned the other way, but I stayed put. "Hello, Paul," she said when she reached me. Her voice was quiet, subdued. Nothing like the confident, ambitious woman I'd once known. "Rose, I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I needed to say something, and I wanted to do it face to face." I waited. "You were right, about everything. I was selfish, cruel, and manipulative. I used you, I used Bill, and I convinced myself it was okay because I was getting what I wanted." She looked down at her hands, shaking slightly. "I destroyed everything good in my life because I couldn't appreciate what I had." "Is that an apology?" "It's an acknowledgement. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know I understand now. What I did, what I lost, what it cost." "Bill hit you." She touched her cheek reflexively, though the bruise had long since faded. "He did. And in some twisted way, I think I needed that wake-up call, to see what kind of person I'd chosen over you, to understand that excitement and danger aren't the same as love or respect. That doesn't make it okay that he hit you. No, it doesn't. Nothing makes any of what happened okay." She met my eyes, dark circles beneath them, red rims from crying. "I heard you got a place near campus, that you're teaching again, that you're doing well." "I am." "Good. That's good. You deserve to be happy, Paul. You always did. I couldn't see it when I had it. I took it for granted." Her voice cracked. "I took you for granted." "What happened with your parents?" She flinched. "They're speaking to me again. Barely. My dad told me I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. My mom cries every time she looks at me. They wanted grandchildren, a family legacy. I destroyed all of that for a fantasy. And Bill? I haven't spoken to him since the lake house. I heard his business recovered somewhat. He found new clients, rebuilt his reputation. Meanwhile, She stopped, swallowed hard. I took a leave of absence from the firm. I'm seeing a therapist 3 times a week, trying to figure out what's broken inside me that made me sabotage everything good. We stood in silence for a moment. Students flowed around us, laughing and talking, oblivious to the wreckage of our past. Rose, I said finally, I hope you figure it out. I hope you become the person you pretended to be. Someone honest. Someone capable of appreciating what they have. Tears streamed down her face. Thank you. That's more grace than I deserve from you. Probably. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it because holding on to anger would just keep me chained to what happened. I'm choosing to let it go. I wish... She stopped herself. No, I don't get to wish for anything. I made my choices. This is what I deserve. She turned to leave, then paused and looked back. For what it's worth, I hope someday you find someone who appreciates you the way I should have. Someone who doesn't take you for granted. Someone who sees your value and cherishes it. I nodded, but said nothing. She walked away across the quad, disappearing into the crowd of students, growing smaller until she was gone. I stood by the fountain a few more minutes, watching the water cascade down the tiers, constant and unchanging. Then I turned and walked back to my car. That evening, I found myself driving. Not toward home, but toward the lake, toward Bill's house. I didn't plan it. My hands just turned the wheel, and I didn't correct course. Maybe I needed to see the place where Rose's fantasy had shattered. Maybe I needed closure. Maybe I was just restless, angry, and needed to confront the geography of betrayal one last time. The sun was setting when I pulled up the gravel drive. Bill's BMW was there, and so was another car, a red sedan I didn't recognize. I sat in my car for a moment, debating whether to knock or just drive away. Then the front door opened. Bill stepped out, followed by Rose. They were arguing. I could hear their raised voices even from inside my car with the windows up. You can't just show up here unannounced, Bill said. We're done. I made that clear. I just wanted to talk, Rose replied. To apologize. To explain. There's nothing to explain. You ruined everything. My business, my reputation, my life, because of you and your stupid games. They weren't games to me. Then you're even more delusional than I thought. Bill's voice was cold, cutting. You know what your problem is, Rose. You wanted everything. You wanted the safe husband, the exciting lover, the perfect life, and you thought you were smart enough to have it all. Turns out, you're not as clever as you thought. And what about you? You pursued me. You encouraged me. You're just as guilty as I am. The difference is, I didn't promise anyone forever. I didn't stand in front of someone and plan to betray them on what should have been the happiest day of their life. That was all you, sweetheart. You're not a victim here. You're just a person who got exactly what she deserved. Rose's voice dropped to something quieter, more desperate. Please, Bill, I've lost everything. My fiancé, my parents' respect, my job, my future. You're all I have left. Bill laughed. It was an ugly sound. I'm all you have left? That should tell you something about the choices you've made. You don't have me, Rose. You never had me. You had an affair, a distraction, a way to feel alive. But you never had me. I gave up everything for you. You gave up everything for yourself, for your fantasy. Don't put that on me. I sat frozen in my car, watching this play out. Part of me wanted to drive away, to leave them to their misery. But another part, a darker part, wanted to see how this ended. Rose noticed my car then. Her eyes widened. Paul? Bill turned, saw me, and his expression hardened. Jesus Christ, what are you doing here? I got out of the car slowly. I could ask Rose the same question. I just wanted to talk to him, Rose said. Her voice was small, defeated. I thought maybe we could what? I asked. Get back together? Start over? Build a relationship on the foundation of lies and betrayal? I don't know what I thought, she admitted. I just didn't want to be alone. You are alone, Bill said bluntly. That's the consequence of your choices. You destroyed your relationship with Paul. You destroyed any chance of something real with me. You destroyed your parents' trust. Now you get to live with that. You're being cruel, Rose said. I'm being honest. Something you should try sometime. I looked at both of them. These two people who'd conspired to betray me, now turning on each other like wounded animals. There was no satisfaction in it, no sense of victory, just a hollow sadness at how completely they'd destroyed themselves. Rose, I said, go home. Whatever you thought you'd find here, it doesn't exist. Paul, please, I'm not saying this to be cruel. I'm saying it because it's true. Bill doesn't want you. You destroyed what we had. All that's left is for you to accept it and move forward. Move forward to what? I have nothing left. Then build something new. Get help. Figure out what drove you to sabotage your life, but stop coming back to the scenes of your crimes looking for redemption. It's not here. Bill nodded slowly. He's right. You need to leave, Rose, and don't come back. Rose looked between us, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. To both of you. Your apologies don't change anything, I said. They don't undo what you did. They don't repair what you broke. They're just words. She walked to her car slowly, like someone much older than 28. Got in, started the engine, and drove away without looking back. Bill and I stood in the driveway, watching her taillights disappear through the trees. Why are you really here? Bill asked finally. I don't know, I admitted. Maybe I wanted to see where it all fell apart for her. Maybe I wanted to see you face to face one more time. Maybe I'm just trying to find closure in all the wrong places. Did you find it? No. Just more sadness. Bill took a drink from the glass he was still holding. For what it's worth, I didn't know she was going to plan that whole wedding day thing. When she told me, I thought she was joking. By the time I realized she was serious, we were already in too deep. That's not an excuse. I know, but it's the truth. I never wanted to hurt you specifically. You were just collateral damage in her fantasy. That doesn't make it better. No, it doesn't. He looked at me directly for the first time. I lost 3 major clients because of what you did. My reputation is permanently damaged. Was it worth it? Yes. Fair enough. I suppose I deserved it. You did. We stood in silence for another moment. Then I turned to leave. Paul, Bill called out. She really did love you, you know. In her own broken way. She just loved the idea of having everything more. Love without respect isn't love. It's just selfishness wearing a costume. I drove home through the darkness, leaving Bill standing in front of his lake house, alone with his drink and regrets. 3 months passed. Fall turned to winter. The semester ended. I graded finals, submitted grades, and went through the mechanical motions of academic life. Rose stopped trying to contact me. No more chance encounters on campus. No more tearful apologies. She'd finally accepted that what we had was truly over. Sophie called occasionally with updates I didn't ask for but somehow needed to hear. Rose had moved to an apartment across town, started back at her law firm part-time, was still seeing her therapist regularly, had cut off all contact with Bill completely. Her parents were slowly forgiving her. Slowly. It would take years to fully rebuild that trust, if it ever came back at all. On a Tuesday in early December, I was grocery shopping when I ran into Mrs. Collier. She saw me before I could turn away. Paul, hello. Mrs. Collier. We stood awkwardly in the produce section, both of us holding baskets, neither knowing quite what to say. How are you? she asked finally. I'm okay. Managing. How are you and Mr. Collier? She paused, searching for the right word. We're healing, slowly. It's been difficult. I'm sure it has. We see Rose once a week for dinner. Things are strained, but we're trying. She's our daughter after all. We can't just abandon her, even though what she did was... She stopped, emotion catching in her throat. What she did to you was unforgivable. She's making progress, from what I hear. She is, but she'll never be the same. None of us will. Mrs. Collier looked at me with sad eyes. We lost you too, you know. We'd started thinking of you as our son. We had such hopes for you and Rose. Grandchildren, holidays together, a real family. The words hit harder than I expected. I had those hopes too. I know you did. That's what makes this so tragic. Rose threw away something real and good for something empty and destructive, and now we're all paying the price. I'm sorry things worked out this way. Don't apologize. You're not the one who should be sorry. She reached out and squeezed my arm gently. You're a good man, Paul. I hope you find happiness. I hope you find someone who deserves you. Thank you, Mrs. Collier. She nodded and walked away, her basket full of groceries for dinners I'd never attend, holidays I wouldn't share, a family life that would never include me. I finished my shopping mechanically, drove home, put away the groceries. Then I sat in my small living room and allowed myself to feel the full weight of what I'd lost. Not Rose. I didn't mourn her. But I mourned the future I'd believed in, the family I'd thought I was building, the stability and belonging I'd never really had as a foster kid, that had seemed so close I could taste it, and then evaporated like morning mist. I thought about Rose at her parents' house for their weekly strained dinners, Bill at his lake house with his damaged reputation, Mr. and Mrs. Collier grieving the grandchildren they'd never have. Everyone had lost something, everyone was paying a price, but only Rose and Bill had earned their suffering. That night, I made a decision. I deleted everything, every screenshot, every piece of evidence, every document I'd compiled during my investigation, the folder on my laptop, the cloud backups, the printed pages I'd kept in a file box. All of it went into the shredder or the trash. My lawyer had copies of what was necessary for the financial settlement, but I didn't need to keep the rest. Holding on to proof of betrayal would only keep me chained to it. I wasn't forgiving Rose. I wasn't forgetting what happened. I was simply choosing to stop carrying the weight of her betrayal everywhere I went. The next morning, I drove to the Ashford Hotel, the place where Rose had planned her ultimate betrayal, where she'd booked the bridal suite for her twisted fantasy. I walked through the lobby, took the elevator to the 4th floor, stood outside the door of the bridal suite. Room 427. I'd looked up the room number months ago, torturing myself with the details of her plan. Now I stood there, staring at the brass numbers, and felt nothing. Just a door, just a room. The significance existed only in my mind, in the weight I gave it. I turned and walked away. On my way out, I passed the ballroom where our reception was supposed to happen. Through the open doors, I could see another wedding in progress, a bride and groom dancing their first dance, surrounded by happy guests, everything I'd thought I would have. I didn't feel envy or anger. Just a quiet acknowledgement that some people got their happy ending, and some people got betrayal instead. That was life. Random and unfair and beautiful and cruel in equal measure. I drove home, made dinner, and opened my laptop. I had papers to grade, lectures to prepare, a life to continue living. Rose's betrayal didn't get to define me. Bill's manipulation didn't get to control my future. The family I'd lost with the Colliers didn't get to haunt me forever. I got to choose what came next. And I chose to move forward. 6 months after the canceled wedding, I saw Rose one final time. She was leaving her therapist's office as I was walking past. Pure coincidence. I'd been meeting a colleague for coffee at a place 2 doors down. We stopped when we saw each other. This time, neither of us approached. We just stood there, 20 feet apart, looking at each other across the divide of everything that had happened. She looked better, healthier. The hollow look was gone from her eyes, replaced by something steadier. Not happy exactly, but no longer actively drowning. I nodded at her. She nodded back. Then we both continued walking in opposite directions, into our separate futures. And that was it. No tearful final conversation, no dramatic closure. Just two people who'd once planned to spend their lives together, acknowledging each other's existence one last time, and moving on. That evening, I sat on my porch and watched the sunset. The air was warm, spring slowly giving way to summer. Neighbors walked dogs, kids rode bikes. Life continued its normal rhythms, indifferent to personal tragedy or triumph. I thought about everything that had happened. The discovery at 2:47 a.m., the confrontation, the canceled wedding, the revenge I'd extracted, the prices everyone had paid. I thought about Rose, alone in her apartment, rebuilding her life piece by piece. About Bill at his lake house, his reputation permanently marked. About Mr. and Mrs. Collier, grieving the son-in-law and grandchildren they'd never have. And I thought about myself. Paul Martin, 27 years old, economics professor, orphan, almost husband, survivor of betrayal. I'd been given a choice when I discovered Rose's affair. I could have confronted her privately, walked away quietly, let it all fade into the past. Or I could have made sure she and everyone else understood exactly what her betrayal cost. I'd chosen the latter. I'd dismantled our wedding, exposed her affair, demanded financial restitution, and watched her world collapse. Some people might call that revenge. Others might call it justice. I called it consequences. Rose had gambled that she could have everything, the stability of our relationship and the excitement of her affair. She'd gambled that I was too trusting, too rational, too predictable to ever discover the truth. She'd been wrong, and now she knew the price of that miscalculation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, I felt something finally release inside my chest. Not forgiveness. I'd probably never fully forgive what Rose did. But acceptance. This was my life now. Not the one I'd planned, but the one I had. And it was mine, built on honest ground, free from lies and manipulation and betrayal. That would have to be enough. I went inside, locked the door, and didn't look back at the empty street behind me. The story of Paul and Rose was over. The story of what came next, whatever that turned out to be, was just beginning. But it would be a story written in truth this time. No more fantasies, no more delusions, just the hard, honest reality of moving forward after betrayal. And somehow, that felt like victory enough.